The Expert Infantryman Badge, or the EIB, something that a lot of soldiers want, but not every soldier can earn. What's up, my friends? U.S. Army veteran Christopher Chaos, and I want to explain to you who can earn the Expert Infantryman Badge, otherwise sometimes known as the EIB, and what it takes to actually get that coveted EIB. Now, of course, if you're interested in learning about the United States Army, maybe you want to join, you're a veteran, you want to learn about the nostalgia type of things, then make sure you hit that subscribe button, click on the bell so you get alerts as soon as new videos go live, to include the live streams, and make sure you have it selected for all. So let's get into it. Let's talk about how soldiers in the United States Army can get the EIB and who can get the EIB. So let's start off with who can get the EIB, and that is going to be limited to individuals in the 11 series MOS, so your 11 Bravos, your 11 Charlies, as well as Special Forces, so your 18 series MOSs, but not your 18 Deltas, which is the medic. It is also available for officers that are serving like an infantry unit, an infantry type of position type of thing, so that could be an option for you too, but you have to meet those criteria to be in that specific field. So it is limited to those individuals in the MOS. If you're outside that MOS, you can't earn an EIB, but they do have the Expert Soldier Badge. For those in the medical field, they have an Expert Medical Badge too. So there is other options, but for those in the infantry, they're the only ones that can receive the Expert Infantryman Badge, which makes sense, it's an infantryman badge. Also, don't confuse it with the Combat Infantryman Badge. That is something that an infantry soldier or one of those also individuals in the Special Forces MOS could get that if they were in a combat zone and received fire from the enemy and took contact and, engaged the enemy, that kind of a thing, then they could earn that one. But for this one, this is specifically one that you have to go through a series of events to earn this badge. So let's say that maybe you are in that position, or you will be in that position, or you're just curious about it, right? There are some prerequisites to be able to go and attend the qualification course, you might say, to get your EIB. So we already talked about the qualification of you have to be in that specific MOS or serving in the infantry like an officer type of thing, but there are other things outside of just your MOS qualification. You obviously have to volunteer for it. You can't be forced to do it, but I have heard stories of like units where they kind of like peer pressure you into it, but you have to technically volunteer for it. You have to be able to pass the height and weight standards. So there is a height and weight standard for the United States Army. If you're not familiar with that, you have to be able to make height and weight. If you can't make height and weight, then you're not eligible to try to get EIB. You also have to pass the physical fitness test, so you have now the ACFT. I've not seen the new standards for ACFT when it comes to qualifying for the EIB, but with the previous one, you had to score at least 70% in each event for the push-up, sit-up, and 2-mile run. Maybe it's something similar where you're gonna have to score 70% in all the different 6 categories, because now it's a much different physical fitness test, so you obviously have to pass it, but not just pass it. You have to do fairly decent on the ACFT or the APFT with the old one was. You also have to receive a recommendation from the current unit commander. I mean, typically if you meet all the requirements for that, then yeah, they're probably gonna recommend you to go for this. So they're gonna kind of evaluate your standards and make sure that you've passed height and weight, passed the PT test, passed all the other standards you have to do, and then yeah, they'll probably recommend you. There is a prerequisite for weapons qualification. That is, you must have scored Expert with your M4 in the last 12 months. So qualifying as marksman, sharpshooter isn't gonna cut it. You gotta get Expert. Additionally, if you're in the 11 Charlie MOS, you do have to qualify Expert in the 11 Charlie gunnery test. So they have their own kind of special tests they have to do, and you have to qualify Expert in that. They also have a pre-qualification land navigation course that you have to pass. They used to have that back in the day where that was a part of EIB. Now it's just a prerequisite. So they have a land nav course that you have to do, and you have to pass that land nav to be able to move on to the actual EIB test. For the land nav course, it has to be within a 6-month window for it to count for EIB. Also, something that used to be a part of EIB way back in the day that's now a prerequisite is the 12-mile foot march. You have a 12-mile road march that you have to do. You've got your M4, you've got all this gear, you got your rucksack, and it probably equals somewhere up to like 70 pounds of gear. So you have to do that 12 miles in less than 3 hours. For that 12-mile road march, it has to be done within 90 days of the EIB. So once you have met those prerequisites, you qualify to be able to participate in the EIB course to try to earn your EIB that is conducted at the unit level. So that is done at the unit level. Units will conduct them. It just kind of depends on, scheduling as far as like where they have some space to be able to do that in based on training, deployments, whatever's going on. But at your unit, they will schedule to do the EIB qualification course. And as long as you've met all those prerequisites, then you can participate in that qualification course. That's usually done over several days. I've seen it go for like a whole week, several days, whatever. It's not something you can simply do in one day. There are a lot of events that you have to pass to be able to earn that EIB. Now, before we move into the events that are involved with EIB to get that qualification, to get that badge, you gotta understand how it's graded. It's graded on a go or no-go type of scale, which means go is passing and no-go means you failed. In the end, you're gonna have to get a go for each event in order to be able to move on. Now, there is some different criteria though. For example, let's say you do one of the events and your first attempt at the event, you get a no-go. Well, that means the next attempt, you have to get a go to be able to move on, because if you don't get a go on the next attempt at that event, then you have failed the entire EIB course. Now, you can't do that with every event because those no-goes do add up. Even though you've eventually maybe got a go in that next attempt, those no-goes do accumulate to meet a certain standard because you can't go over 3. If you get a third no-go, it doesn't matter if you got a no-go in one station, but then you got to go, and then another station later you got a no-go, but then you got to go in the second attempt. That still adds up. That's 2 no-goes. That means if you get one more no-go, you have failed the entire course. It doesn't equal another attempt. So in that example, if you had 2 events that you received no-go, but then you got to go on the second attempt, well, in the next event or one of the later events later on, if you receive a no-go, you won't get a second attempt to try to get a go in that event because you've got 3 cumulative no-goes throughout the whole entire course and you've failed now. There's also like some slang and terminology they use for like different individuals. Let's say in the event that you get a go throughout the whole entire course, you don't get a single no-go. You have passed every single event on the first time, the first try. That makes you a go in every single event, and you don't have one single no-go, then you are a true blue. So if you heard someone got true blue on EIB, that means they did the whole entire course without a single no-go. They also have another slang word called blade running. That would be an individual that received 2 no-goes in the course, so they were kind of on that borderline of failing. If they would have gotten one more no-go, they would have failed the entire course, but they passed it, but they had 2 no-goes, so they were blade running.
So there are multiple kind of stations you have to go through with different tasks, and I won't go through all the tasks, but like I said, you can easily probably pause the video if you want to look at them, or check out the link down in the description box to see the website where it's coming from. But you're gonna have stations such as like first aid, so you have things to perform like, you know, applying a tourniquet and preventing shock. You have your MBC for being able to put on your protective mask and be able to decontaminate yourself. So you're gonna have to do things like being able to put on your pro mask, the gas mask, within a certain time frame. Indirect fire, to make sure you know how to conduct a fire mission. You have some basic individual tasks, which include things like estimating range, performing move under fire or move under direct fire, and then also like putting on camouflage and some other tasks. You have communications, which is working the radios to show them that you know how to work the SINGARS radios, which is the radio system in the United States Army. Map reading, to be able to identify terrain features, to be able to, you know, plot grid points on a map. A lot of different weapon ones to do a lot of different tasks, such as with the M16 or M4, which it's not going to be probably with the M16, it's going to be with the M4. Things like functions checks and loading the weapon, unloading the weapon, all those kind of things. And you'll have a lot of those similar tasks with other weapon systems that you'll see a little bit later on. Things with the hand grenade, to make sure you know how to utilize the hand grenade properly and be effective with a hand grenade. Also things with mines, such as the Claymore mine or the anti-tank mines. Some security intelligence stuff, which is being able to do a salute report, to be able to do like the size, activity, location, unit, time, and equipment of an enemy, to be able to identify those kind of key things for that report. Tasks with the AT-4, the rocket launcher, to be able to show you know how to use that. And a lot of those kind of same tasks like you saw with the M4, but now for the M240 Bravo, to be able to do a functions check, clear it. Same with the M249 machine gun. Same with the 50 cal, as well as with the Mark 19. Things with the 9mm pistol, the Javelin, which is a rocket system. You have to make sure you know how to use the night vision devices, and then bore sight, which is utilizing a laser aiming device. So all these tasks, in the end, you ultimately need to get a go in all of them. Like I said before, you can get a no-go and then get to retest in that event, but you must get a go in that second attempt. But you also can't get a cumulative of 3 no-goes, otherwise you fail the whole entire course. So all those tasks you have to be able to accomplish and not get 3 no-goes total. But also be able to, if you fail one of these events, the second attempt, be able to pass it. Because if you fail any of these events twice, then you're a no-go at the whole entire thing.
Now, the CIB is ranked higher. So if a soldier was to earn the EIB, but then deploy with a unit to earn their CIB, they don't wear both. They wear whichever one is higher, which in that case, it would be the Combat Infantryman Badge is a higher badge. So you'd wear that one rather than the EIB. If a soldier also was infantry, earned the EIB, CIB, whatever, and then changed MOSs, they still do qualify to wear that badge because they earned it while they were in the qualification range of being allowed to have it or allowed to earn it. If you want me to do a video that breaks down like EFMB for the Expert Field Medical Badge or even the Expert Soldier Badge, then let's try to get this video to 500 likes. We get the video 500 likes, I'll do a poll or something like that, and we'll see which video I do first to break down some information on those badges. Now, participation is mandatory here at the Christopher Chaos channel, so I need you to comment down below, help out the algorithm, whether you are an 11 Bravo, you're a Pogue, you're whatever, you're not even in the Army, you're a veteran, whatever the case is, okay? I want you to comment down below. What of those events do you think would be the easiest for you personally, and what would be the hardest for you personally? I think for me personally, I think the communications one would probably be the easiest one since it's kind of something I currently sort of do to a certain aspect, like with my civilian job, working with the Army. So that would be fairly easy. Plus, I think I'd just be easy for me to be able to do that task. And then hardest one would probably be something like maybe like the 50 cal or the 249 or something like that, because I don't have a whole lot of experience with utilizing those weapon systems. So it would probably take some practice, and I feel like that would be my weakness. Now, don't go leaving the video just yet. I have an older video that explains about different badges in the United States Army, and it gives a good handful of them. So check that out. Check out my latest video upload. Subscribe to the channel. Thanks for hanging out. I'm Christopher Chaos. I'll see you next time. See ya.